Welcome. My name is Brenda Lanoff of brendalanoff.com. And I welcome you to this call today that I'm having with a time friend over the years. We've reconnected here, and her name is Brenda Pearce. So welcome, Brenda.
Thank you so much, Brenda. It's the Brenda Club today, isn't it?
This is the Brenda Club. Well, I
Yeah.
was going to give you some information about the other Brenda before we have her carry on and give us her information and how she's handling herself and turning her full-time caregiver to her aging mom. So again, our guest today is Brenda Pearce, former RN turned full-time caregiver to her aging mom. She knows firsthand the joys and challenges. She has um, learned that managing those childhood triggers that exist in any parent adult child relationship is key to success. Learning how to not lose yourself when slowly losing your parent is so important. It's all about caring for the caregiver to prevent caregiver burnout. If this is for you and you love and you care for your elderly parent or family member, then this call is really important. And I invite you to listen right to the end because this is vital to thrive and not just survive. So, welcome, Brenda, the other Brenda.
Thank you so much, and thank you for creating this space and allowing me to have this participation. You know, Brenda, I did a lot of things while I was an RN. I was an RN for 39 years. I was the most unlikely person to ever be an RN, but I made it through to the finish line and gained a lot of knowledge along the way. And towards the end of my career, well, about 10, 15 years into the end of my career, I started doing other things. I started doing podcasts and YouTube videos and writing books. And I even had a TV show of that on the Rogers Network. And I found that that was vital for me to balance off the career because the career itself is very narrow, but there are a lot of opportunities in that career. And most of my career was uh, spent with dealing with elderly, and whether it be through hospice or med surge or whatever, or even in long term care. So I had developed quite an interesting perspective, a lot of knowledge, and taking care of the elderly from a professional avenue. And I thought, well, this is the nice thing about that was you gave it your all during your shift, but then you got to go home, and home was, your world and your outlets and whatever else you do to balance your life. So come into 2020 and we are into the big C world of restrictions and lockdowns and everything else that goes along with that. And I was very much feeling very um, heart torn because my mom was living in a large house and had lost her husband a few years ago and was beginning to decline. And I would always spend most of my after hours from work with her, helping her to balance things out. But it was noticeable that things were starting to really slide. And I think that whole era was a real eye opener for many of us in terms of what we had to give up, how we managed our lives, and everything else. So I remember Christmas of 2020, and I actually felt, and I really go into the intuitive aspect. If I'm feeling a certain weight on my heart, I really explore it. And I was feeling that it was time for me to downsize and sell my home and really take a different look at how I live my life. And I remember that Christmas, I basically at Christmas, on Christmas Day, said at the family Christmas dinner, I think I'm going to downsize. I think I'm going to sell my home. I think I'm going to change my lifestyle. And in our little small family conclave, my mom's reached out and she says, Brenda, can you move in with me? So there you go. There was that heartfelt string that was coming from my mom that I was picking up on. And even though I didn't know what the pieces were, and I said, yes, I think that would be wonderful. And from there, I did the wild thing, packed up everything in COVID, threw a lot of things away, sold a lot of things on porch visits from marketplace clients, and sold my home and moved in with my mom. And it's incredible that the timing was absolutely perfect. Mom was fairly good. She was fairly independent. She kept her social life going and everything else, but I could see that things were starting to slip.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things that if you listen to spirit and you really connect with your inner self, you can really reach into the intuitiveness of what's going on around us. And it was the best thing I could do. And here we are 5 years later.
Yeah.
And I retired as an RN. And that was interesting too. That was a little bit on the early side, but it's amazing how things have fallen into place. And we're 5 years into this journey. Um, my mom's cognitive score this year was on her MOCA was substantially less, and we're moving into a new phase. So over the last 5 years, it's been this gradual transaction or transition, and being able to assist my mom with getting things in order and in place and doing all that. And now we're kind of like more into the next phase. And
Yeah.
it's been a real journey, especially coming from the professional perspective and knowing all those things, and then really moving in to being that adult child who's your parent still thinks of you as their baby. That's interesting.
Mm.
When you've had a professional career and now you become the adult child. And there's that juxtaposition of moving into parenting the parent as well. So it's a very dynamic process.
I mean, firstly, I do remember that you had taken on different roles, like you were podcast. You had your own podcast, and you did numerous things over the years. So, congratulations on that. Not many people who are in one profession are able to say, well, that what they've been diverse in what they done, what they have done is that I know you're a co-author and many several things, just a real entrepreneur in addition to your profession as a nurse. So that's very cool. With the COVID, it kind of really took us off guard and it kind of threw us all in a real loop. What does this mean? And turned our worlds upside down. So now you are the caretaker. You have this medical background, and what can happen, as we know, as caregivers, you can burn out, and sometimes that can happen very slowly and over time.
Yeah.
So, for you, what do you do when you recognize that you are in that burnout stage? What do you do to brighten your day and to help you keep balanced?
Yeah, yeah. So it's really interesting because from the professional aspect, I would admit family members into long-term care and watch their family members were at absolute fried out from going the distance, and they hit the wall and they go, I just can't do it anymore. So it happens to everybody at some point reaches a bit of burnout. So I was very aware of that. Most people don't realize they're burnt out until they're burnt out.
Yes.
So one of the things was my own awareness of what do I do is, there are great days where everything runs smoothly, gentle reminders to your cognitive declining loved one will get them back on track, to days where they are so mired into their past experiences that it's really hard to break through that, or their perception of reality is off that day, or you know whether it's they look in the mirror and they don't recognize themselves anymore.
Hmm.
They remember themselves as a young person, not the person they see in the mirror, or forget how old they are, or you can put all the reminders around that say what day it is, what time it is, whatever it is, and they just don't, or the repetition questions that keep coming up, that after the fifth time you've answered a question, it's easy to kind of throw up your hands and go, I already told you, can you not remember? And it's
Mm,
just your response. It's not them, it's you. They're
yeah.
going through their processes. So it's
Hmm.
really, really important to realize the only thing you can really control in this situation when you are with your loved one, things are going awry or whatever,
Hmm.
is you control you. And you are powerful in that you have the difference within you to make your day good or bad. And it really is important to realize that if you are, and there are things we can do to, up the ante, so to speak, and feeling good in the situation. But if you're feeling bad or you're feeling tired or you're
Hmm.
stressed or you've got, remember too, it's not just the care of the person, it's managing the home, it's managing the bills, it's managing
Hmm.
their finances and portfolio, it's managing expectations because other people may not realize, or even family members may not realize, how
Yes.
far down the rabbit hole they've gone. Or
Yes.
they think that you are benefiting from all this and you're just living high on the hog,
Mm,
while you're caring for them while they're still having their job and they're still having their life and can't
right.
figure out why you're doing this or how far down you are, you know.
Yes. I
So
think that is, sorry, Brenda, I was going to say,
that's
I know
fine.
that triggers for myself when you see a parent declining, and it can create a lot of conflict within the siblings. And everybody's got their point of view, what should be happening, what shouldn't be happening. And it can really create long lasting rivalry much after the passing of the parent. So
That's right.
this is a huge one. But I think a lot of people, if not most of us, do get concerned about dementia.
Hmm.
And I'm always like looking underlying root issues as to what's related to dementia. Are there any major issues that you know of as a medical person and as an intuitive that you sense that could be the major issues?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, from the professional aspect, I'm working in long term care for as long as I did. The biggest thing is loneliness. These people who are vibrant and outgoing and everything else, it's funny how as they start to lose control of their life, they start to withdraw from society. And before you know it, loneliness is the biggest illness that there is in the elderly and can be definitely take them down because the more they withdraw from society, the more they lack the insight into what's going around them, what's going on in their community, what's going on in their family, and as they withdraw, some people forget to stretch the hand out and say, "Hey, I'd love to come visit you," or sitting and even just going through photo albums, those photo albums for them bring back where they are at. They may
Mm-hmm.
still be that young person heading out in the world in an old person's body or a deteriorating body, whether it be mental, physical, social,
Mm-hmm.
all those things that add up over time. The other thing that's really important, and I have found, is that, I'm not going to get into medications or that sort of piece of it, but good supplementation is really
Mm,
important.
okay.
There are things, there are good supplements out there to boost your energy levels and to help with
Mm-hmm.
memory and this sort of
Good.
thing. So that is really, really important.
Okay.
Um, the other thing too, so yeah, so with supplementation goes hand in hand with good nutrition. I
Yes.
find that a lot of the people revert to things that are simple, like tea and cookies, or don't want to think it's a real bother to cook anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
so nutrition is really, really important, making sure that they get their range of vitamins and range of nutritional needs met. Um, because even though we are all going to decline down this trajectory eventually, it doesn't have to be a steep or fast trajectory. It can be staved off because, again, looking for things of good resonance because we are energy vibrating people, that good cell healthy resonance is necessary. So, whether it be binaural beat music, doing some energy work, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, red light therapy,
Mm-hmm.
looking for these alternatives because they are a little bit more passive but have a great bang for your buck on the cell level. And
Okay.
yeah, so those are some of the things that I really honed in from all my different avenues of whatever. And my mom turned 90 this year,
Oh,
and we celebrated her birthday. And even though she is not doing well cognitively, because I've been able to pull all these other things in, we
yes.
just did her lab work, and she has magnificent labs.
Oh, that's great, Brenda.
Yeah. So her
So
comfort
that,
level's there at that level.
so with the combination of the supplements and the nutrition and various therapies, that is making a significant difference as her um, dementia, I guess, is what you know she has. So that's good to see. And I know for myself, from when my father was in a senior home, I don't know about the nutrition. I question that, and it's kind of out of your control unless you bringing in food, I guess, on your own. And most people aren't in the position to be doing that if they're not, caring for their own parent, and then financially too. It costs money to have supplements, and so that's another area.
Yeah.
But when you said about the right beat, the right music, that can all help stimulate and maybe get some healthy mitochondria activity in the cells. So there's things that can be done. I would assume that can be inexpensive, that can be introduced. Um,
Hmm.
now, I'm sensing that with dementia, that people are dealing with grief, or is it just that grief comes out towards the end years? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, yeah, that's an excellent point and very key because I think, yes, we as children are grieving the losses and changes in our parents. And it doesn't have to be the final nail in the coffin, but it can start earlier, in years earlier. Like every change is like one new notch that you can see closer to the end. And it can be, again, as adult children, it can be very heartfelt, it can be very stressful, and as especially as we need to pull up our socks and do more for them through that whole process, they grieve too. So for instance, my mom was married twice, and she can't remember how long her husbands have been gone, or if and will mention friends and family, like she's the last of her generation, and the family of that generation left from her
Hmm.
in-laws and outlaws and everybody else laws. Um, so I have to gently explain to her that so and so is gone, and she'll go, "Oh, when did that happen?" So those
Hmm.
reminders. So that's kind of like a fresh piece of information in that moment, which she may
Hmm.
forget the next moment. But in that moment, there may be grief, like, especially when friends have been gone and all
Definitely.
that. Yeah. So it's almost like a constant grief process of that, oh, really? That shock over and over again.
Yes. Is and I would imagine that's some unprocessed PTSD as well. That can
That's
stay in our system and we can get triggered at any time, and that can create another layer of PTSD. Or maybe even I'm sensing like there can be some memory that comes up that can trigger another PTSD. So,
right. Yes.
yeah, life is a real balancing act, isn't it? We have life, and then we have the grieving process of what should be and things that should have happened, didn't happen. And
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But the interesting thing is, and this is a blessing too, is that with somebody with cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever it is you want to call it, the next moment they forget
Yes,
and they are able to let that go until either it triggers again or whatever. But that's kind of like a release valve.
it is. Yeah, that is really, that's a positive thing, isn't it?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's just that we as children keep remembering everything,
Right,
right?
right.
So, so therefore, when they forget, they're
Mm-hmm.
at peace and until
Mm-hmm.
something comes up. But it adds to our stress because if you keep
Yes,
layering that on again,
right.
right? Yeah, so that's where the caregiver
Yeah.
burnout can also come in too, is
Okay.
dealing with those past traumas that were maybe your parents, but you're taking it on for them because
Yes.
when they have those discussions, you're the one who's got to bring it all up again. Or do you? That's the thing.
Mm,
If
true.
you don't be honest and truthful for with your parent, then it doesn't feel like their life to them. But on the other hand, you get to change some of the outcomes too in their remembering because you can butter it a little bit different.
Wow, that's a great suggestion, Brenda. It really is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, it works, right? It's just that,
Yeah.
being consistent in your remembering can change their outcomes. So, yeah.
Right. And then while being consistent, I mean, just everyday life, being consistent can be very challenging because we have our own stuff to deal with. So when you um, talk to other people who are dealing with a similar situation, what are the major things that you would suggest that they do for themselves?
Mm.
And it may be dementia or any chronic illness. What would you suggest?
Yeah, that's excellent because the way our medical system works is when somebody presents with some memory loss, they do a MOCA test, and that's the
Mm.
Montreal Cognitive Test. That's pretty much a standard. There's different versions of it. You can download it for free if you're not sure about what that is, and you can try it yourself. It's amazing how
Oh,
it's simplistic, but yet it's very telling for yourself too as to where you're at and whether or not you have some things that maybe you should be maybe aware of.
oh,
Yeah. So, so that's available online. You can look up the MOCA, capital M, little c, little o, c a.
okay. That's a great suggestion. So capital M, small O C A, Montreal test.
Yes, yes, it's the mom. Yeah, it's pretty much the standard test, and they usually put your loved ones or parents through that, and then they do
Okay.
if they score. It's scored out of 30, and if you get 27 under 27, then you really need to start looking into situations for your parent. And maybe what the doctor's offices are often doing is when they do them in there is they start a referral to the geriatrician or the geriatric team in your area to start looking into further diagnosis because there are different aspects to Alzheimer's.
Mm,
There's Lewy body, there's various different things on there that can be maybe medically treated or
okay.
need further diagnostics or whatever else. Um, and oftentimes
Mm,
there are trials, clinical trials for different medications going on all the time. If
mhm,
that's
mhm,
something that you wanted to pursue,
mhm.
but that also opens up the door to the Alzheimer's Society and community resources and that sort of thing. It's about, and if you're not there yet with it, then make sure that you are taking time for yourself. Very important. Um, Very important to maybe schedule time to do a craft or visit with friends or schedule a friend to come in and visit with your loved one and take that opportunity to go get a haircut. You know, don't use it for doing something around the house that you would do anyway, do something for you. It's very important.
Yes,
Go
it's
out for lunch
true.
with a friend. Yeah. Yeah. So that's one aspect. The other aspect to it too is what can you do to delegate? So delegate your grocery shopping if you need be. If you're using it as a socialization thing for your family member, then yeah, take your family member and go shopping with them.
Mm,
Um, but if you're finding that you're a little farther along or a little bit more bogged down, look for grocery service shoppers, that will go out, Uber Eats or whatever.
mm,
What about those meal prep kits out there?
mhm,
They have some factor foods in the freezer and just be able to pull them out if you need to. If you're a good cook, make a bigger batch of stuff and freeze most of it so that you don't
mhm,
have to be so tied to the stove. Um, Another thing, home care services. There are private home care services that you can start to bring in. Like the other day, I
mm,
had to go pick up my daughter at the airport. Going into Toronto, traffic is on the 401 is a zoo any day. But I had booked, scheduled in a caregiving service for a friendly visitor to be with my mom. So I didn't have to be on the road worrying about her and worrying about traffic and everything else,
mhm.
or bringing her along and making her uncomfortable in the process.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different things we can do, but the thing is starting your day with gratitude. Having a
Yes.
sense of gratitude, setting that vibrational set point already at a level and holding on to it so that no matter what, all the repetitive questions or whatever happens, or if your loved one falls or whatever it
Yeah.
is you're already planting the seeds for a good day. Not only that, too, Brenda, but it also, when you radiate a higher set point, it radiates out, and you know that so
Yes.
well, right? So it's so important. Set your groundwork really well. And at the end of the day, take some time for you, whether it's just reading a book when they're gone to bed, journaling, again, being in a sense of gratitude and thinking about your day and what went right and not hurting yourself or banging yourself over the head about what went wrong.
Right.
Yeah, so those are just a few.
I think it is fantastic that for yourself with a medical background, that you are merging all of these skills. And that's not a very common thing to see and very much required. And I'm pleased to see that you have created the Caring Caregiver, Caring for Your Aging Parent Community of Support Facebook group. So this is awesome. I'm pleased that you're doing that. We have all of this life experience and we can get caught up and I know that I personally do. I can get scattered and pulled in so many directions. And this is the time. I think there's more and more people that are maybe looking to care for their um, parent, their elderly parent in their own homes, and versus having them into in a senior home. And I know for where I live at, it's a decent caretaking home could be thousands of dollars a month, and
Yeah.
I just don't think it's. I don't know who, for the average person, especially in this economy, and in Canada, I'll speak anyways. I don't see how that's really feasible for a lot of people. So it's how you can bring the family together and under one roof. And ideally, that would be really the key to do that. And like you say, share resources and ask for help if these services are available where they can deliver food, you can freeze food, just like what you were saying, and that it's not all on you. And I know for myself, what I see a lot of this is put on upon the females, and we're quite tired of that. So we need to just where the women are the caretakers, that's their role. Um, for me, that's where I really do a little pushback. And no, let's sort of, this is all the family. Everybody has roles, everybody can contribute because it's just too much to have this on, usually the females, the caretakers.
Yes, and interesting. So I in my town, there's cultures that actually that is the expectation, right? In my choice, it was a choice, and in
Yes,
consultation with my mom and collaborating and knowing where her needs were and what her wishes were and what we could make happen. But a lot of cultures, it is a demand. But in my area, I actually met a gentleman who was the only surviving child of a culture where this usually gets put on the oldest family member, which
hmm
was his sister, and she had deceased. And so this gentleman, who was an entrepreneur, a businessman, successful, and everything else, gave everything up to move in with his mom. So, although the trend is mostly the females, there is a subculture of men who are doing this as well, and they need this even more because at least as women, we are known as nurturers,
yes, that's
right?
true. That's very true. And in the medical professionals, nurses is, from what I can tell, it's mainly female. So of course, um, and that's how it should be. And what I do like about some of the cultures that I have that are recent cultures, even just here in Canada, is that how they have their family members in one household and they're able to share that. And I think that's something that we've unfortunately have fallen away from in our North American society, Western society. So those are good things to take in and adapt um, for our own families to take care of one another. Really, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
That's right.
So.
It's that give back.
So we just lost Brenda there just for a moment. We'll just see when she comes back. Um, but if you would like to get in touch with Brenda, and we're just going to give out her Facebook group, Brenda Pearce, and her Facebook group is the Caring Caregiver, Caring for Your Aging Parent Community of Support. Through Facebook group. The group is for adult children caring for their aging parents. And again, this growing trend of elder care in their own home or if they're moving in with their parents. So I will be posting this today. I guess we just had a bit of a lag of connection here. And look forward to sharing this and having further discussions. I know Brenda is very excited about being able to share and, give her support and grow. And also, I'm really enjoy helping and working with older people and just having a voice and that we can express our concerns and our fears of as we do get older. And, one of the major areas is working, helping our family members and how we do that and how we work together also within our own siblings and, making strong positive connections. So, hi, Brenda. We just temporarily lost connection here. So, I just been talking
We're
here. Oh, so hi, Brenda. I just was sort of wrapping it up here a bit. We just temporarily lost connection about how people can get in contact with you and have more of these discussions. I think we will have more of these. Now, okay, so now we caught you back. I've referred to your Facebook group, but what's some other ways of getting in contact with you?
Yes, yes. So my email is BPEARCERAI, all one word, lowercase, at gmail.com. And that's a
Okay,
wonderful way. Yeah.
okay, so just email Brenda, get on her Facebook page. Let's start conversation. And this isn't just for us, this is for also generations. It could be for our children because
Absolutely.
we're kind of leading the way and things are changing and we're constantly shifting. So, what may have been done, excuse me, maybe 5 years, 10 years ago, that's changing and changing for various reasons. Economics has a lot to do with it. And we just We need to get the families more united, and that's really, really key. And my travels and living different countries in the world is just seeing that, and I know how essential that is, and how we need to bring that here again more to the North America, anyways. And well, thank you, Brenda. I'll be posting this replay, and we'll be in touch and do more of these calls. And we're just starting out with all this. So, any last words that you'd like to pass on?
Yeah, thank you so very much, Brenda. It's been excellent reconnecting with you. Discovering that this whole avenue, which I was just living my life and doing my thing, can maybe help other people. And that's what it's about. Is when you're doing this, you're in isolation. You're in your own silo, and it really is about sharing the wealth and sharing the burden and sharing what we can do to maybe make life a little better. But the other big thing too about taking care of our loved ones is maintaining a sense of purpose for them. You know, when they're in their own home, you don't want to take everything away from them. You want to make sure that they are doing things. Like my mom and I were out in the garden this morning
Oh,
weeding for about
nice.
2, 3 hours, and it
Oh,
was beautiful. It was a lovely, lovely morning. The weather was good. We got a lot of those clovers
hmm.
out of the flower bed that were cropping up after all our weather, and that is her thing. We have beautiful gardens. So
Mm,
even though she's not driving and she's not doing things on her own, and I'm with her a lot, we share
mhm.
that common love together, and that's what it's all about is finding purpose and sharing what they can do, instead of what they can't do. And that's probably my best final words.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, thank you for sharing your story, Brenda. And I'm looking forward to sharing this with numerous people and in groups. So thank you. We'll do this again, and yeah, and just being open to what information we receive, and helping other people as they're going through the same journeys.
Yeah.
And I think I would want to do things sort of differently if I had, if that was the case. And you just you do the best that you can with what you know. And but when we can exchange information like this, the medical information, and blend it with the intuitiveness, I think that's a perfect match.
It is. It's a holistic approach. Thank you
Yes,
very much, and yes, I look forward to growing the community, and thank you for being a part of the community. And let's see where we grow from here.
sounds good. Goodbye for now.